Hello class, so today we're going to talk about the difference between an epidemic, an endemic, and a pandemic. All of those are diseases, and we're just really going to narrow down what these terms mean in reference to how diseases spread. So first we're going to talk about epidemic. And epidemics are outbreaks of a disease that attack many people at about the same time and may spread throughout one country or several communities. One example is the current epidemic happening in Haiti with cholera, which is the picture that you see here with the man in the yellow coat carrying a body. Epidemics happen within one country or a couple communities. They don't really spread that much, if that makes sense. Next, we have endemics, and endemics are a disease that exists permanently in a particular region or population. A good example of this is malaria. It's a constant worry in parts of Africa. It comes from mosquitoes, which are really hard to eradicate in that community. Endemics can be over a wider range of area. So for example, with malaria, it's over the whole continent of Africa. So it's not just limited to one country. And that's the definition of an endemic. So the next definition we have is pandemic. And a pandemic exists when an epidemic spreads throughout the world. Remember, an epidemic is just an outbreak of a disease that attacks people at the same time. A good example of this would be like the Black Plague in Europe in the medieval ages, right before the Renaissance period. So that's a really good example of an epidemic. A lot of people don't know, but the plague actually started in China. So you have it moving throughout different communities, and it's creating a pandemic. A good way to remember pandemic and what it means is pandemic kind of sounds like panic. And when a disease spreads throughout multiple countries, that's when it creates panic within the world. So that's how you can kind of remember that. So in class, we're going to play a game. It's called Dun 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 Pandemic. It's known to come in both an electronic version and a board version, but what happens is you create a disease, you get to name it, all of that fun stuff. It starts out as an epidemic. You pick a place where you want the disease to start. It doesn't really matter where you pick, but you can pick a country like Africa or something. The disease starts in that region, and then slowly it will become an endemic. You'll see it spreading throughout Africa, and it will stay in Africa for a while, and then it will become a pandemic. When it becomes a pandemic, it starts to give you points for having your disease reach those levels. When it becomes a pandemic, it will spread throughout the world, and kind of in the game, the way to win is to kill everyone, as I was saying. They're not real people, it's just on the game. But a way that you can lose is the people find the cure to your disease fast enough. So next class period, we'll kind of talk about how to stop epidemics, endemics, and pandemics, and how that's worked throughout history. But for today, we're just going to play this game in class, and I hope you guys have fun playing it.